That's unfortunate. That's very unfortunate. Guys, could y'all hear me in the back? Y'all could? Okay, I figured you could. All right. That sucks. I started the show and I don't. Let's just start over. Hi, I'm Blake. How about that? Really not mad at the game tonight for Matt McMahon and this LSU club. Look, man, was down 26. It's kind of awful because I was so good. So good. Yeah, I gave that Forrest Gump Vietnam speech. So awful, man. That was definitely a horrible moment. You would think within close to 900 shows we would have figured this out by now, but bad podcasting by me. Very bad podcasting. Let's start over. LSU falls tonight 88-68 to Tennessee, the number 6 team in the country. Got to admit, man, I'm not really mad at the performance. Jordan Wright was off. He went 3 of 16, 1 from 7 from 3. He only had 9 points. He was off tonight. A lot of guys were. So was Jalen Reed. It's tough because you don't have Jalen Cook to help you and coming off the bench. Mwani Wilkinson does give you big threes. You cut it within single digits. You cut it to 9. But then you have probably and arguably the best player in the SEC in Komet, and he goes off and closes the show. Yeah, you lose by 20, but there LSU late closed the gap and got it within 9 points. I just really like what Matt McMahon has done in 2 years, considering where this team was. It's not the popular take to have right now, and I know that. I know sometimes it's really tough and hard, pause, but it's really tough to watch this team sometimes. They have a really good performance. They play a really good team, and they get smacked. Don't think this is a tournament team, but look, I love watching them play, and they're getting better under Matt McMahon. I think the biggest thing in all of this, and the thing that I take away from tonight, against Tennessee, is mainly due to the fact that under Matt McMahon, I see the process. I see the progress. You're getting better. I understand that, he gets rivaled to Will Wade a lot, and I don't think that that's fair for him because I just don't. But I can see where they're going. I can see what he's doing. I think he's a really good coach. I think he's got to get better personnel in here. He's got to recruit better. And it's tough to recruit here sometimes, specifically when you had the situations that you did. But you have some young, talented pieces. And you got to build off of that, man. You're going to have to go in the portal. Matt's going to have to find some money and go out there and spend it in the portal and get some guys in here. So I'm not mad. I mean, look, you won 2 SEC conference games last year. You're at 4. Okay. I think you could get to sub 500 in the league or right at 500, get into the tournament. Who knows what will happen there when you do get into the tournament? You make a little push. You never know what could happen. So I like the growth. I like that the things that I see from Matt, I think he's given it everything he's got. And it's just not on paying it off the way that it arguably should. So I'm going to stay the course with him, man. I'm going to continue to tell you, for me, this is like a year 1 for him. Okay. And I'm going to judge him based off of this being year 1. Get to sub 500 in the league and maintain, maybe win a game or 2 in the tournament, in the SEC tournament, and go from there. And see what you can do. It's going to be tough. Don't think you have the personnel. Don't think you have the players. but they play tough. They play hard-nosed, and I'm rooting for Matt McMahon, man. I really am. And I think that his team loves him. I think these players love him. And let's see what happens here. I think, we could look back at this in a year or two and say to ourselves, man, we just need to give him time. And I think we're there. I think we're in the tough days of it. And we're just going to have to grind through it. It's not fun. It's not fair to do what we're doing and having to talk what we're talking about. But guys, I'm just not going to beat up on him right now based off of what everything has happened. I'm just not. I know Will is in Lake Charles and he continues to have a parallel path with him on things. Still don't think that that's fair. There's a big difference in coaching in the SEC and coaching in the Southland, where you can get some pieces, some below average pieces, okay, and win that conference. Guys, the Southland Conference in basketball is so bad. It is horrible. Trust me. I mean, like, guys, I used to go there I used to go to almost every basketball game when I was at Southeastern. It's a horrible conference. I mean, it's not that great. I'm not saying Matt can't and won't make, Will won't make the tournament, maybe win a game. Who knows? Okay? Who knows what will happen there? All I'm saying is you got to give Matt a little bit of time, man. Got to give a little bit of time. He inherited something that Wade left that was a dumpster fire, a complete dumpster fire. And he's having to rebuild it. So I think Matt McMahon's a good coach. He's shown before that he's a good coach. We just got to stay the course with him for now. Brandon Reese says he basically inherited a glorified expansion team. Yeah, I guess it's a good way to put it. Stephen Young rebuttals that and says, well, so did Brian Kelly. I think that's a little bit different. A little bit different because of what BK was able to do in the portal. I mean, you're able, from a football perspective, to get a Jaden Daniels. You're not. I mean, and look, we'll at some point and someday we'll have the real and true conversation about Jaden that we probably always should have had. But I mean, guys, he was the best player in the country that you could have gotten out of the portal, and you seized on it. So I don't know if there's those players in college basketball that hit the portal like that. And it's completely different. I mean, you got two NFL corners you went and got from the state of Louisiana, the guys that are on practice squads. I mean, that's not necessarily fair. But I think we'll be all right. Rob Boudreaux says Coach McMahon didn't even have one player. That's true. He didn't. Chance Babin says 9 days till baseball. That it is. And we'll have a lot of coverage. We'll be doing a lot of, specifically because LSU baseball has a lot of midday games. We're going to be doing a lot of post games, and I don't have to be in here at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. I love it. Thank you, Jay Johnson. God, thank you, Jesus. Dude, we would stay up so late. I'd stay up so late. I'd get to bed at 11:30, 12 o'clock, and that's just not when I go to sleep. It's not how I do things. I'm a night owl, but I don't like staying up 11, 12 o'clock during the week. It's just not how I like to do, because I'm up at 6, and got to start the day, got to get some, got to get things rolling. So it's not fun. All right. We got tons to discuss, more than just the men's basketball post-game show. We'll talk a little bit about it because we'll just kind of run through their schedule very quickly. But Brian Kelly had a signing day press conference. We'll spend a lot of time talking about that, some things that he mentioned, some things that he talked about, some things I think that he said in there that we've talked a lot about on the show. And something, one big area of concern, but, I'm going to say what I think, I'm going to break down the energy that I feel that Brian Kelly had today, because look, he still said a lot last year, even though I thought, there during camp, he got to the point where he thought that this could be a playoff team last year. You know, there was a lot of times in the preseason, if you go back to what he said, and even told and said in the preseason about defense and said that he did not have the corners here yet. We'll just break down the entire press conference, but I felt that he had some good energy on the guys that he has on the team right now. And he addressed one big issue, which means, okay, also that they're going to process some guys and tell them to hit the road. And that's unfortunate too, but we'll break all of that down. Speaking of that, it was National Signing Day, even though this day, at least of all days, did not feel at all like even a couple of years ago, man, you had some guys that didn't sign, you know, in the early period. And so today was the day that like National Signing Day died. The February signing day completely died for me. But Terry Bussey commits to Texas A&M or stays committed to Texas A&M. He does that at 9 a.m. Don McKinley signs, and we're over with. It was a very uneventful day. I don't mind that. I'm just saying, very uneventful day. But in the signing of today and Terry Bussey, we're going to do a little bit of a Rufino's rants on Texas A&M. Because you got Leon O'Neal, who is a former A&M player, out there spatting his gums about LSU dudes. Spatting his gums about guys leaving Texas and going to LSU. Well, and then you got legitimate Texas A&M media accounts, okay, in my mentions defending that they actually have won something in the SEC, and what they say is something significant that they've won since being in the SEC over the last decade is, guys, did y'all know that they won the Capital One Orange Bowl? One New Year's Six Bowl. They've accomplished something in the SEC. Is there a more delusional, idiotic, stupid fan base in this? Guys, A&M is a different breed of stupid. Okay, like gloves off. I don't get them. I don't get it. How can you be so stupid to think that you're not going to get roasted for thinking that one of your big things that you've won since you've joined this conference is you won a New Year's Six Bowl? The biggest thing that you've done is the Johnny Manziel years. That's it. Him winning the Heisman, Johnny football going off. That is it. You have sucked. Oh, what about the COVID year? Go milk some titties somewhere. You're not a good football program right now. Spending $75 million, okay, to fire your coach is laughable. We don't think it's, I mean, now it is a flex, okay, that A&M can pull it off. Like, let's not act like it's not. Spending $75 million for a guy not to coach is utter craziness, okay? Let's not act as if, though, okay, that we're like A&M fans, we're laughing at you. We're laughing at you. You're flexing. Oh, we kept Terry Bussey. You had to. We flipped 4 other of your dudes, okay, and got one of your starters. LSU takes what we want. Like, so to all A&M fans and media, you're not even remotely, like even close to being on the pedestal of LSU. Like, not even remotely close. Brian Kelly has been in the SEC for 2 years and has played for more SEC championships than A&M as a entity has ever done. Like, they're so delusional. But you got guys like Leon O'Neal, who, by the way, Racey McMath made look stupid on his touchdown in 19. Bruh. Rand says some of the tweets he deleted was mad disrespectful. It was disrespectful. And then, okay, Leon O'Neal was the guy that played safety for Texas A&M. He's going out here to Twitter, okay? Him deleting it is so soft. And then he's saying no fear. No, you got ratioed, okay? You're playing in the Arena League. Like, come on, man. Come on. All right. We'll discuss about that a little bit too. I mean, I pretty much already discussed it, but I don't understand it. Guys, I cannot fathom it. Like it doesn't register with me how A&M, like, fans and media for them are this stupid. I mean, you look at the Twitter battles all day long, and I just scratch my head and say, there's no way that you can be this stupid. Bragging about a New Year's Six Bowl win during COVID. Like, what are you bragging about? It's like your friend who wants to introduce you to his new girlfriend, and he's been talking her up so much. Like, man, she's a 10, she's a 10, and she's a 3. Like, her teeth are really yellow and crossed. You know, like, she wears short shorts, but she's a little hefty, and she shouldn't be wearing what she's wearing. Like, that's what I feel like A&M is. I feel like A&M's the guy at the bar that strikes out with every girl, but still has the same amount of confidence throughout his entire life. Just idiotic, dude. I've never understood them, and I never will. I mean, hell, you got one of their media guys out there constantly quote tweeting LSU women, LSU people who are women who are fans. It's weird. It's so weird. Like, people call them the cult. You are the cult. It's not a joke. Oh, we got Terry Bussey. Good on you. It's like, I think Terry's going to be a great player. In case you missed it too, Terry Bussey is staying with Texas A&M, signed with A&M today. Good on him. Going to be a great player. LSU went up into your house and snatched 4 commits and flipped them, and then took a starter and was like, we take what we want, and you're going to flex with a New Year's Six Bowl win. Oh, we beat you a couple of times here or there. You also beat Bama that one time. Good on you. Good on you. Beat them once under Manziel. Good on you. But when a team constantly is kicking your ass and you're having to pay $75 million for a coach for him not to be there, you think, oh, yeah, man, we got money. We just spent $75 million. We're all laughing at you. We're laughing at you. And then the whole Brian Kelly to Michigan rumor starts because you got people at Texas A&M who knows that LSU is about to smack that ass in recruiting and start flipping some dudes, so they make up something that's so idiotic. Brian Kelly to Michigan. Even if it was true, you knew Sharon Moore was going to be elevated. It wasn't even a choice. Brian Kelly's not actually a fit here. How do you know what Louisiana is? A&M has no business. Either if you're a media guy that's from there, went to school there, whatever, or an A&M fan, player, you have no business telling anybody about culture and fit, because what you do, the little midnight yell, it's stupid. You got male cheerleaders out there. Woo! It's losers. It's a loser. Woo! Woo! Who you are, Ric Flair? I'm done with them. You want to know? You want to know something? Let me tell you something from Blake. Here's something from Uncle Blake. Going on a little bit of a tangent on this. I hate A&M more than any other fan base and any other team in the SEC. Bama, it is what it is. That rivalry was with Nick. He's not there no more. That's your rivalry. They think that they're their little brother. Woo! Can't stand them. All right. We got to actually get into the show. Hopefully I recovered and myself from being mute for like 5 minutes. All right. Let's talk about our good friends at betonline.ag, our good friend Tyler Alexander over at LPT Realty. Everybody do us a favor, though. Hit that like button, hit the share. If you're on Facebook, hit the like button, share to all those groups, share to all your social media pages. You're watching us, listening to us on YouTube, like, subscribe, and notification bell wherever you listen to podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe. We greatly appreciate you doing that. Be right back. Brian Kelly presser. We talk about that next. We'll talk a little basketball and recap the game too. And then I pretty much just did my Rufino's rants already. And then we'll go around your SEC. Stay with us. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
We're back. Y'all saw Nick Saban is going to ESPN as an analyst. I think it's a wild conspiracy for Florida State fans to think that they put Nick Saban and Alabama in the playoff because Nick was going to go and coach or go and be an analyst for game day. Guys, I think deep down, and I know if Florida State would have gotten in the playoff, they would have gotten their teeth kicked in by any three of those teams. They can't score. Guys, they couldn't score against Florida or Louisville. Barely. Scrapping to get anything offensively done. Spare me that they would have been able to go up against Michigan and put up any points. That was the best defense in college football this year. Spare me. Now that, we can somewhat debunk that. Look, I don't like Nick. I don't like Bama, but I'm also going to try to keep it real with you. Look, one thing that we will do on this show, even if I'm wrong, I'm just going to tell you how I feel. Like, I'm not going to come out here and sugarcoat it. I'm not going to come out here and I have tried to build off of all of this through 800 plus episodes of just being the realest dude I can be. That's it. I'm going to call it like I see it. I don't think Florida State deserved to be in the playoff. I just really don't. The ACC was the worst Power 5 conference in the country this year. Wasn't remotely close. Okay? They benefited because their signature win was a 9-3 LSU, who, ironically, Alabama just being real with you, beat them by almost the same margin. So, yeah, to be real with you, but Saban is going to be at ESPN. I do find it a little interesting. It's going to be fun. Hear me out here. I mean, look, man, he is the greatest of all time. It is going to be fun to listen to how he views football. I'm not going to, and he doesn't have to get another team ready. He doesn't have to sugarcoat anything. He just tell you what he feels and how he feels. And I think it's going to be a good thing for college football. We probably won't talk Tennessee for the first time in 4 episodes here tonight outside of basketball. Look, one quick thing before we talk about this Brian Kelly press conference and get into a little bit of football. LSU shot 24% from 3, 6 of 25, not good enough. They got to get better at the free throw line too. I know Trey Hannibal had 4 misses, but guys, you're just going to have to get better. They're 63.6% tonight. You've had struggles there pretty often. You shoot 41% from the field. You're facing a really good team though. Connect and those guys. I mean, they're a reason they're a top 16. They could be the best team in the SEC this year. You battled, you got it within single digits with 3 minutes left to go in the game. I do look at LSU's schedule moving forward. Now, you're going to have Alabama. You got Florida, South Carolina, Kentucky. You got to beat Florida, and you're going to have to upset somebody here. Like, if you want to stay 500, now you got Mississippi State and Georgia after that. Just beat Florida. Try to upset somebody. Don't know who that is. You got Kentucky coming here on the 21st at 8 p.m. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. After that, it's not as bad. Obviously, we talked about you got Mississippi State, Georgia, Vanderbilt, Arkansas again, and Missouri, who doesn't have a win in conference. So even if over the next, month, you're not necessarily the best, okay, you can make up some ground late, but you're just try to be 500 in these next couple of stretches, next 4 games, because if you can do that, guys, I think you could maybe make a push in the tournament, maybe be on the bubble, be on the fringe. Just try to go 2-2. It's going to be tough. It's going to be hard. You're going to have to upset somebody that's a top 15 team, either Kentucky, Alabama, or South Carolina. So we'll see. William Hanno says, bring back David Pollock. Can you imagine that interaction? Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that. And look, Pollock has done some things. Even if you agree with them, let me just tell you one quick thing. When sports guys start going political, okay, and he's having his comments about wokeism, again, have your own thoughts. I don't give a shit about them, okay? It's going to rub a lot of fans the wrong way. And people just don't want to hear about it and don't want to see it all the time. He has his right, his platform to talk about whatever he wants. That's on him. I don't care. I think David Pollock's a really damn good football analyst. I think he's one of the best. I can separate his political views and ideologies for how I can separate things and comprehend. I feel like that has become a massive issue in our country where guys, he has an opinion on something. So what? You disagree with him. So what? Who gives a shit? Like, I know I'm on my soapbox again on this. I just don't care. If I like the guy as a football analyst, I like football, I'm going to listen to it. There's, even if I don't agree with him, not saying I do or don't, all I'm saying is I don't like when sports guys go out there and just try to force down politics to get likes and quotes and retweets. It's why I never jive with like a guy like Will Kane, or why I don't jive with Jamel Hill. Neither one of them. Don't care for it. Okay. Let's get to it. Because Brian Kelly had a press conference today on National Signing Day and recapped his team. There is no bigger area that Brian Kelly talked about today than the interior of the defensive line. He was asked a question about what they're going to do there. And he did not sugarcoat it. And good on him for not sugarcoating it. Basically, Brian Kelly confirmed today everything that we've discussed over the last month. That being, they have to be better and deeper, pause, along the interior of the defensive line. They're going to even move guys around in there. Brian Kelly was answering the question kind of not awkwardly, but made it like, hey, are you going to move some guys around? He goes, yep. Okay, well, I mean, he's got to. I mean, he's going to have to move more bodies into the interior of the defensive line. You don't have enough. You might not have enough during spring. He said today that there may be some offensive linemen who I have no earthly idea who that will be. They're going to have to go on the other side of the ball during spring, which leads me to this. I think basically what he told you today was, meaning Brian Kelly, that we are going to vet. I'm not saying he said this, but we are going to vet the situation, which we talked about a lot. We knew that they had to do it, was always doing it behind closed doors. Number two, I'm not saying that they will tamper, okay? But I think that there's always a good idea of guys that potentially will hit the portal and guys that you can go after. And you're going to have to. Like, even if none of the guys that you bring in from the portal are starters, you need depth and quality depth. Because you do not have it. And it is, how do I want to say this? Even under Orgeron, there were areas of concern, like the offensive line. Remember under O in the last 2 years, how you just were so bad along the offensive line? I honestly think it might be a little bit worse in the interior of the defensive line. Because you still had guys that got drafted, okay, from those offensive lines. Ed Ingram, starter, Minnesota, was on that offensive line, okay? You had Austin Deculus that got drafted. Houston was on that offensive line. Guys that maybe some of them are not going to see a lot of snaps, if ever, in the NFL. Guys that can get there and play. Right now, I don't know, outside of a true freshman, Dom McKinley, who will be on this team next year, I just don't know if you have any NFL bodies in that rotation or position group. Now, we're going to have to see some of the guys that they move into the interior, but maybe Jacoby and Guillory gets a look, maybe. How does Sean Washington look? But right now, those are question marks. It also confirms that LSU, who is above the 85 scholarship limit, there's going to be guys that they're going to have to tell to leave. And Brian Kelly confirming that they're going to look into the portal for interior defensive linemen confirms that. Now, whether you like that or not, it is what it is. But there was a second thing that I walk out of that press conference and say to myself, okay, walking out of that press conference today came very evident and clear to me that Brian Kelly fully feels that they are going to develop at a much better rate defensively than they have done the last 2 years and get a lot of these young guys ready and prepped and good to go and ready to go. It kind of feels like he knows something we don't. Now, not saying that you're going to have a complete 180 in the secondary, at linebacker, or even in a pass rush situation. But I think that he knows now, like, hey, man, we got some really damn strong coaches in here that can help develop and progress some of these young bucks. Because that's how he wants to build this roster. I don't even think it's a bad strategy. I think it is the ultimate strategy for a winning program. Recruiting through high school, having a high retention rate, which we gloss over all the time, right? Like we gloss over all the time that LSU, yeah, they lose a couple of guys here and there, Lance Hurd, Walker Howard. What have they done so far? Nothing. I mean, relatively nothing. I think Lance will next year for Tennessee, but you're not missing out on a lot because you replace it with another 5-star. Brian Kelly doesn't get the credit that he deserves, even during staff turnover, of the high retention rate. And I just came out of that presser feeling to myself, okay, I've listened to every word that man has said since he's been at LSU. Every single word. Sometimes go back and listen to it again just in case I missed anything. And today, I haven't really ever heard him that confident outside of the way that he's talked about his offense from last year. I'm not trying to give you hope. I'm not trying to give you and tell you that we're going to be an instant playoff team. They got a lot of hard work ahead of them. A lot of hard work. Okay. But man, I asked the question, what does he know that I don't? One thing that I thought was interesting, and the first person that came to mind for me when he said that they're going to move some guys into the interior, that feels 100% like Savion Jones. I don't know if Savion is a interior 3 technique type of guy. It doesn't feel like he is. I think he can play a little bit, okay, in there. And I think he can make some things really interesting, especially from a pass rush situation because he's put on weight, okay? He was just a little too slow for tackles, especially really athletic tackles. He's going to be more athletic than every guard he sees this year. And I do ask if he's going to be the guy that they move inside and tinker and test with him being in there. Paris Shand is another one. I think Paris Shand is a guy that I look at too and ask myself, an undersized edge guy who, guys, really had a lot of quality production last year. A lot of high quality production. He is the guy that when we talk about this defensive line, never gets brought up. Now, he just won the Freak of the Week for being an absolute dude, okay, and being a stud in the weight room and on the field. We need him to progress, and we need him to build upon some of the success that he had last year because of all the more interior type of guys, nobody had the flashes, okay, that Paris Shand did rep on rep. You know, you had Mekhi Wingo and Mason Smith in the bowl game. Okay. Mason Smith had a sack against Mizzou. Okay. But Paris Shand a lot of times would flash even when he wasn't making the play. So are those two guys that you look at and start tinkering with and being unique and creative? One thing that Blake Baker has got to do, like has to, or he's going to be and find himself looking down the barrel of the same fate of Matt House. Man, he's got to ask himself the question, okay, how unique and innovative do I need to be? And we need to get these guys up to speed really quickly and being innovative, because if we don't and I don't, we're in trouble. I don't think people realize the issue or issues I have with the D line. I think you've got some really good edge guys. I think Jackson Howard is the guy that I'm really intrigued to see. Deshaun Womack. Obviously, what do you do with Perkins? You got a lot of edge guys that I'm really high on. You know, what does Gabe Rutherford give you, if anything? What is a guy like Ahmad Bro, if anything? So I look at all of the defensive line. I think that you got talent at the edge. Actually, I know you have talent at the edge. I think you got immense talent along the edge. But man, when you don't have bodies in that interior, guys, you can't allow teams like Missouri, like Ole Miss, and Alabama to run all over you at will. Guys, look, I'd even concede Florida State. I shouldn't, but I would. I concede even a Florida State loss, even though I think that game was closer than a lot of people thought it was. I look at Alabama and I look at Ole Miss and say the only thing, the biggest thing that beat you was third down defense, okay, and teams running the ball at you at an alarming rate. Because I still think, guys, really, I think Garrett has matured enough. He's going to make mistakes. You're going to have to allow him to make mistakes. He has matured enough, and I think this offense is going to be good enough. And even Brian Kelly talked about today. Basically, Brian Kelly came to you and said, we had to go and replenish some of the things offensively. We had to go get a Xavier Thomas and a CJ Daniels. We're going to be really good on offense. Everything is focused on one side of the football right now. We'll see, man. It's going to be interesting. One thing that I also thought Brian Kelly mentioned, and I want to, how do I want to say this without, because I don't want to come off in any kind of a wrong way. Guys, I'm not going to talk about Tennessee, but Brian Kelly mentioned this today. Brian Kelly brought up about the SEC too and the Big Ten joining forces. And Brian Kelly said, man, listen, we need one voice. Now, maybe he's talking about SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey. I think he just meant in general that can point college football in the right direction. Regardless of who Brian Kelly mentioned today, guys, this is how I make my living. Throughout the entire day, let me just tell you, I am on the phone because coaches love to talk and they love to brag. And you pick up the phone, you talk to them, a couple of them around the league. Talk to an SEC D-line coach today. Talk to a former LSU offensive lineman today who is getting into coaching. Spoke to an SEC offensive line coach today. And all of them echoed. Every single one of them echoed. And only thing that they wanted to talk about is this SEC Big Ten thing. And you know what they keep bringing up? Exactly what Brian Kelly said, that basically we need a commissioner. And we need one. Brian Kelly's not going to confirm that we need a commissioner. What he's going to tell you is, okay, and he talked about how we're not going to continue to lobby for things. He's right. He knows the same arguments that I've been having over the last 4 episodes is exactly what Brian Kelly mentioned today. It's like we talk to coaches throughout the day because it's all a lot of what we do. Finding out intel, stuff on teams, shooting the BS. How's your mama and them? I think it's interesting that you have a prominent head coach in college football, which that is what Brian Kelly is, saying that we need one voice, one focus, one direction. He won't say this, but I'm telling you it's the truth. Let Tennessee win and the NCAA not being able to investigate recruiting violations. You think it's the Wild Wild West right now? You have not seen anything yet. If teams know that they can get away with recruiting violations by just suing the NCAA, we are in immense trouble. Immense. Multiple levels of chaos. You think it's crazy now. Guys, I'm telling you, this is what your head coach is saying. It's what he's saying. Y'all think basically pulling the curtain back from what BK said about the alliance or the agreement with the SEC and Big Ten. He's warning you. He's warning you, hey, we better start getting some things right now, because if we don't, Tennessee wins this case, we're in trouble. Y'all think I'm crazy. Y'all think I'm crazy. Kevin says, yeah, okay, the new staff alone makes us better. Come on, man. Did I say that they didn't? But Kevin, here's my point, okay? My point on that is you don't have the dudes. This game is still won and lost by dudes. Do you think you got, Kevin, thumbs up, thumbs down in the chat. Do you think you got better or worse along the interior of the defensive line? Bo Davis does not change dudes getting double teamed, because they will. Right now, you are not better from a D-line perspective. Sorry. You got better coaches. They don't have, in the interior, they do not have the personnel. I'm telling you. You got it, guys. You better take the purple and gold glasses off. You better take the purple and gold glass. You think I'm crazy now? Wait and see what happens during spring. And I come out here and I tell you, they're getting their asses whooped. They're getting their asses whooped. I guarantee you right now, we're going to go out there and the interior of this offensive line is going to be smacking that ass. It's coming. Pause. All right, let's field a couple of questions. I will get to one more thing about the Brian Kelly press conference. He was asked about locking down the state. We'll talk about that too. But Brandon says, move Savion Jones to defensive tackle. He's 6'6", 280. I just don't know how much I like that. Conrad says, Blake, who could possibly convert to D-line in your opinion? I really don't know, Conrad, to be honest with you. Chemo, maybe? Chemo, maybe? I don't know. I this is why I had the issue with, maybe you thought Mekhi Wingo and Mason Smith were coming back. Losing Tyjee Hill and losing Fitzgerald West, ironically enough, is hurts you. It hurts you. I mean, 100% hurts you. So I can't believe I'm saying it. It does. I want to see what happens with Sean Washington. Okay. I just don't. I don't know. Look, a kid could come out and surprise me. Ray Powell says Connor Gilbreth. Maybe a little undersized, but if you're going to have to get some guys some shots here. Going to have to get some guys some shots here and see what they can do. When you're converting offensive linemen to defensive linemen because you need to see what you can get out of it, you got a problem. You got a problem. Brian Kelly was asked about locking the state down, and he said he wouldn't call it locking the state down. He would just say we've done a really good job at sending coaches and putting coaches in the right positions to have success, which basically means we've locked the state down. And look, they did. I mean, getting 9 of the top 10 guys in the state is a big deal. Got to continue to have that type of success. They're already having that type of success in 25. You got a lot of talented kids in the 26 class. And look, the way that Brian Kelly is building the roster, you got to give him this, man. It's how championship teams are built. Championship teams are built with having really, really good high school classes, bringing those guys in, developing them to your system, okay, and developing them as a player, going to the portal, being specific, and getting other really talented guys in here. And I think they did that for offense. Now they got to start doing that a little bit for defense. Guys, there's a reason you won the West in 22. You hit it on the portal. Now, you know, it's not sustainable. I agree it's not sustainable. And it showed that it wasn't sustainable at LSU. You're going to have to, you know, you'll have to do a lot of things like maybe what Ole Miss did, but Ole Miss ain't going to do that every year. They're going to miss. They're going to have one really good hit, couple of really good hits in 1 year, and then they're going to not have the same success. You're going to have development because you're not going to be able to continue to do that. And you're a couple of, like Ole Miss, for example, is a couple injuries away from being in real trouble because they'll have true freshmen sitting behind them, and that's not good enough. LSU, guys, they have a crap load of juniors and sophomores on this team. I have not looked at this. I would not be shocked if 75% of your team is built in juniors and seniors. This is historically when you start seeing teams start making pushes. Regardless if you want to talk about their issues or not, you've recruited and retained well. Very much so. Recruited and retained well. Father Abear says we are 100% to have to pick off some guys at DT in the portal. You're going to have to tamper. Brandon, Dominic McKinley is not going to play at 280. He's going to play at 290, 295, 300. I get they're going to put 200 or 20 pounds on him. He ain't going to play at 280. I promise you that. But to Father Abear's point, guys, you're going to have to tamper a little. And I hate to say that, but I'd probably get real, you know, people probably don't like that I say that, but it's just the truth. Don't get caught. Don't get caught. Do it the right way. You know, make sure that you're doing it the right way. Agents are out there for reasons, and they're not going to spill. Being a rat as an agent publicly, worst thing that can happen. Worst thing that can happen. So, yeah. Chance Babin says, what are you hearing on Jalil Muhammad? I think they're going to monitor. See what happens there. All right, I got to read this. Oh, Danny Girl says, anyone else find it humorous that Blake just told the quote-unquote father, he is, Matt is a priest, that we should cheat? LOL. That's funny. Now, that's funny. But I mean, he said it, Danny, not me. We're 100% going to have to pick off some guys for DT in the portal. Look, man, I mean, let me ask this. Father Abear, is it against God's rules to tamper in recruiting? I don't think that's a part of the commandments. You know, like I don't think it's a part of the 10 Commandments. Moses did not come down from that mountain, okay? And one of them things say, thou shalt not tamper to get kids to go to the transfer portal. We have no commandment that says that you cannot tamper. Brandon Reese says, which corner and safety are you looking forward to watching break out this season next year? I'm still gonna stay with Ashton Stamps at corner. I've seen him have success at practice. He just has not been able to translate it to the field. It's the wildest thing. Guys, I mean, you've seen it. It's not like I'm making this up. LSU's posted a video him picking off Garrett Nussmeier and Brian Thomas Jr. running a go route, and he's jumping up and he's covering him well. He's got his head turned. He's jumping up. He's high pointing the ball. He's intercepting it. He's undercutting some passes. He would probably be the one that I want to see again coming off of surgery. I am really intrigued by Deshaun McBride. What does Deshaun McBride look like? The true freshman from Denham Springs coming in here. I'm really intrigued by Kylan Jackson. Really intrigued. I want to see Kylan Jackson now. I mean, I think that kid can really, really play. Those would be the two. I just don't know what you do with Toviano. You know, that's going to be interesting in and of itself. Because he's not a boundary corner. He's just not a boundary corner. He's too slow right now. I think he is a prototypical safety. I think you need to put him there and let him run. What do you do with Sage Ryan? I'm not so sure that they're not going to leave Sage Ryan on the boundary. I think they're going to keep him there. Corey going to have to get some of them. I mean, he's going to have to coach this kid up. Going to have to coach this kid up because we need it. Father Abra says, well, since I have to address it, pickoff does not necessarily mean tamper. Well, Father, that's the only way we're going to pick them off. I'm just telling you. But he's right. Conrad says, what's crazy, so some guys, I'm assuming, aren't good practice guys, and come to game time, their lights go off. It's so wild with him. He's a freshman too. Alex Daigle says, think we're going to get get better at running the ball to help Nuss. I do, because I think now with the experienced offensive line going into year 3, having four starters return for year 3 is a big deal. It's a very big deal. Kylan Jackson, Trey Holly, Caden Durham, Josh Williams. I even think that you might need to get a back in the portal come spring. I actually would not mind them taking a back. Now, Brian Kelly did mention that you could put Savion Thomas in the backfield and let him run the rock, but that's on certain situations and certain downs and for certain things. I don't know if they will do stuff like that. I think you need a 5th running back. I wouldn't mind taking a back if there's one that goes into the portal that you like. And it doesn't even have to be like, we're not even talking about a bona fide starter. I'm not even talking about a bona fide starter. Okay. I'm just talking about a guy like, I don't want to go into any game with 3 or 4 running backs. You start getting that 3 running back situation, you're in trouble. Or you just going to have to hope Caleb Jackson's is just a bull and doesn't come out, but he's going to. He's going to. You're going to have to go get somebody else. Oh, I got to talk about the new Saints OC. I've been pushing it off to the back burner. I probably can't do that again. We'll wait a minute before we do that. I'll field some more questions here. Alex says, think we gonna, oh yeah, we just read that one. He says, again, think we're gonna need, okay. We're just reading the same question over and over again. Let me scroll up and get to maybe some other ones. Holden Lee says, I'm surprised Jalil Muhammad hasn't committed after his LSU offer. I think there's something holding that back, Holden. Stephen Young says politics will infiltrate everything when you have a lot of people who believe men can get pregnant. Oh boy, I should have read that before I brought that up here. I'm so staying away from that. I want nothing to do with that. I'm not getting canceled. Not today. You can't get me, Satan. Well, look, man. I am a dude that was raised in the country. Come to your own conclusions. I will say this, though. I will say this. Luckily, in this state, we have not had a male, to my knowledge, we have not had a biological male try to entertain in female sports. And I really do debate if that day were to ever come that I don't break my one rule. I feel like I'm Joker from The Dark Knight. You're going to have to break your one rule if you want to save one of them. I might, that would be the only thing I'd break my rule for. We've never, in 800 plus shows, we've never talked about that here. Ever. Politics. But God help us if that day comes. You're going to have to break your one rule if you want to save one of them. People say I got a good look, a nice sounding Heath Ledger Joker. I watched that movie enough. I should sound like him. Brandon Reed says, when it comes to wide receivers, I'm looking forward to seeing what Shelton Sampson does. Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to be, he can be one of those guys that can work into the fold here year two. I don't think people are realizing what I think that CJ Daniels is going to come in here and do. I don't know how much they let CJ roll here. I know that guys coming into LSU that play wide receiver and transfer in normally don't have massive amounts of success. I just don't worry about him. I don't worry about receiver, guys. I just don't worry about offense. I really don't. Even if you're getting stopped, like even if a defense stops you, okay, well, you're supposed to be able to make stops on defense. I mean, you're not going to be perfect. And just because Jaden had to be doesn't mean that Garrett has to be. Dump the ball off. Let your playmakers make plays. You're going to score. Guys, we're going to score a crap load of points. I would be shocked if we do not have a top 25, top 30 offense. Shocked. Legitimately shocked. I just can't see it. Now, next year, that's a whole different story. Next year's a whole different story for me. Because I think you're going to replace 4 offensive linemen. Could be replacing a quarterback. Even though I think A.J. Swan gets a little too much blame for what happened at Vandy. Bryce Underwood will come in. So we'll see. All right. Let me talk about this very quickly because I haven't. Clint Kubiak has been named as the Saints offensive coordinator. And look, I got to admit one thing. I don't understand, for me, people not having more question marks about this. Now, I do think that Clint Kubiak, whose dad was in the NFL for a long time, obviously Super Bowl winning coach, I know what the style of play that they're trying to go after. They're trying to go after that zone blocking schemes, outside zone, run the football, deep, hard play action, hard count, tough physical nose of and brand and style of football. That's what they want to accomplish. That kind of system has pretty much the Shanahan system has had tons of success in the NFL. You see a lot of guys running that in the NFL. You got McVay that runs it. Obviously, you got Kyle Shanahan that runs it. You have Matt LaFleur in Green Bay that runs it. Clint Kubiak is going to run that same type of system now in New Orleans. It's had tons of success. Guys, I just have question marks on a guy coming in, first time ever calling plays, and why a lot of fans and media don't have more question marks around it. It's different maybe for him because he's been around the NFL game for a long time. But for me, I have question marks. I do think one take that I've seen a lot of is that a lot of people and Saints fans watching a lot of the San Francisco offense and what the Saints may look like. That is such a horrible take. It's gonna have its familiarity to it, but that's Kyle Shanahan. That's a completely different beast and animal. You can't assume that Clint, why are you even watching that? Like, I mean, I understand why you are, but I don't know. I do think that Clint Kubiak has a lot of upside and potential. The Saints' new offensive coordinator. I also will always go into a coaching search, whether it's college or pros, and say to myself, you have a guy that's not really called plays before, just first gig, first time doing it, and is he going to have success? I don't think there's any fair either criticisms or good takes that you can have about him that warrant you to know what you'll look like. You don't know how a guy calls plays and what kind of good things or bad things he does on third down. You just don't. So to have the take, I'm watching a lot of San Francisco film and how they're going to run things and do things, and I really like how they do it in San Francisco. That's what they're going to implement here. It's a dumb take. They're not going to do that. All right. Sorry, but I had to mention the Saints talk, man. All right, last one before we get out of here. Brandon says, Blake, which team or teams do you think Jaden will have success with? I keep thinking about the Broncos and Vikings. I don't think that him and Sean Payton would vibe. I think he could have a lot of success with the Vikings, but I don't know. I really don't know. I think Jaden is such far along as a passer than like Lamar is. I think that Jaden could do a lot of good things. I think Jaden can have success wherever he goes. I know that's a cop-out, but I really do believe that. Even though y'all told me that he stunk in 22. All right. We'll see y'all guys tomorrow. Peace.